Okay guys, I decided to do this DIY before I dive into the actual transmission teardown, which is probably going to be a little ways away because I got to buy a fourth gear set. So here's something simple that you can do if you're having trouble with shifting. You just notice there's some kind of issue all the time that your transmission's always having, even when you're placing gears or something like that. It's usually this. This is actually this is Honda's fault. I'm blaming on Honda. This piece that they have here usually gets kind of ate up, and if you pull it out, you can kind of see like this is a fresh one. So you see that how it curves kind of like that. So that's fresh. And when you're banging gears a lot, sometimes this kind of gets really worn and stuff like that. So one thing you can do to make you have that really good solid feel, no more kind of shifting issues like you can't find third gear or third gear's like way back here. You just always having shifting issues. Try replacing this. It's like a 30-minute job. Alright, so first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take this out, and then we're going to pull this apart. So, and kind of remember the way this is. There's a little pin or a little spring, I guess you want to call it. It's actually a spring. So this spring needs to line up the way that it is right now, because if it doesn't, this won't return back. So you want this to be able to return back. The spring is pushing this back into place. So if it doesn't return back, you put it together wrong. So make sure that happens, because that's your reverse arm. It'll work if you don't get it right, but you'll sometimes have to struggle to get it in reverse. So it won't stop you ever from getting in reverse, but so make sure you just have that. All right.
All right. So.
Okay, so I got the bolt out right here. It's a 12 millimeter, just a regular 12. So just take your socket to it. Be careful, because when I did this the first time, this fell on the floor without me seeing it, and I had to undo everything that I just got done doing to put the spacer back on. So don't forget about the spacer that goes on this side. So just put that there. Then you're just gonna take this bad boy off. So this little spring I was talking about right here. So that's the little spring. If you can, you'll see that it hooks right here. So the lower one that points downward hooks right here behind this little crevice mark, you'll see it. And then this one's gonna hook in the front. Here, I'll just lift it up. This one's gonna hook up in the front of the shift arm, I think it's called. So that's gonna go over that, and then so this is actually already I did it, but I'm taking it apart just so I can actually do a slow-mo so you guys can see what I'm doing. So this piece right here, so the piece closest to the bottom right here, it's gonna go down on this piece right here. So you'll see how this is the piece closest to the bottom of this piece touches this piece, the little CBS arm I think it's called, which puts your car in reverse. So, all right, so this goes in right here. So this little piece needs to sit in between here. So that's how you know if you have it right. And you'll also see these little little indents right here. For this piece right here, you see how it sticks up in there? Because it's gonna slide around. So let me, kind of like puzzle pieces, guys. All right, so this slides around up in there, so you can see how that sticks in there, and it'll just slide back and forth. So that's how it's gonna be. And that little ball is up against these little things on this side. So this is the bad one right here. So that little ball hits up on these things right here. So, all right, so now I'm going to put the CBS arm back in. Remember, this piece is gonna go over here where the other little indentation is. So this piece that sticks upward, that little spring that sticks upward, it's gonna hit up against this. So I need to push this in like this, and then underneath here, and it sits perfectly right up in there. So now, once I have this flush, See, it has to be flush. I'm gonna stick the try not to have y'all saying sexual innuendo. About to put this flush so I can stick this shaft through it. There you go. You guys get your mind out the gutter. Alright, so if I don't get it straight, this shaft will help me whenever I get it through. Alright. The spring just fighting against me, which is good. That means I have the spring right. It's fighting with me. There we go. So just look right here. See if you can get that to line up. There we go. And now you just got to find your hole. There's the hole. Now, with your spacer and your screw here, I'll go ahead and put it on this little screw. Spacer and a screw going in. Alright, up. It's trying to fight with me. There we go. Make sure this doesn't come back out. If it does come back out, that means it's not in there. So I turn it a little bit. See? There you go. I can't pull it back out, so that means I'm threaded in. So. Also, one thing to remember is this side right here. This side goes towards the reverse solenoid, not towards the this little shift arm, if that's what you want to call it. So just make sure you take a picture of how it looks compared to the reverse solenoid, so you can reference that you have this on the right way, because you can put it on backwards. Just be aware of that. There are two ways to put it on, and one way is the right way. And there you go, see? So this is returning like it's supposed to. So that means it's done right. If this doesn't return, you did it wrong. I forgot the torque specs to this, but if I were you guys, I would torque everything to specs, so because it's inside your transmission. Last thing you want is something to rattle out into your transmission and get grinded up, and you have something getting wedged in between your internal moving parts of your transmission. So I would torque it to spec, and you don't also want to torque it to spec because you don't want to cross thread, or you don't want to mess up the threads, you know. So I mean, it's up to you, but that's how I would do it. Alright, so that's pretty much the shift arm, or how to do the shift arm. Maybe on your first try it might take you a little bit longer than it took me, but yeah, it's pretty easy, and it might fix what you might think is the most difficult issue in the world. Could have just been this one little install. So alright guys, peace out. Sorry I pieced you out earlier. There's still I'm actually going to show you guys how to put this back in. Also, be aware, there's only 4 little 10 millimeters, I think it is. It might be, yeah, those are about 10. There's little 10 millimeters, they might be a 12, I don't know, but there's only 4 that holds the shift selector in. But this is the one that's different than the others, and I will show you the tool at the end of the video that will actually go in it. You can just go to the store, and it'll make your life a whole lot easier to torque this off. So, alright, so right now I'm going to use some Ultra Gay, You can use this or Honda Bond, and I'm gonna align where this plate sits. If you have any kind of extra sitting around, I would suggest kind of scraping it off. So this looks like it's doesn't really have anything sitting on it besides right here on this side. Let me get like a screwdriver to make sure I can. I'm gonna scrape that off. Okay guys, here I lined it up with silicone. We used Permatex Ultra Gray, which is basically similar to Honda Bond, because that's what it really calls for, is Honda Bond. So if you don't have Honda Bond, or you don't feel like going to get Honda Bond, you can use Ultra Gray. It's worked perfectly for me. I don't have any leaks, so just know that. And when you put this thing back in, make sure it's on neutral. The way it knows on neutral is you should be able to see that bolt hole through this hole right here. So if you don't see that bolt hole, you see that, how it moves? And you can see the bolt hole should be right there. So when you're putting it down in there, it should line up like this. So you're probably gonna have to wiggle it around to get it in there, but when you start pushing it in, make sure that lines up. All these damn sexual ninjas or nindos or whatever you call them. Alright, so I got it lined up now. As you can see, the bolt hole is lined up, and I'm gonna start pushing it in. Get this sucker in, line it up with the bolts. So as I told you guys before, the 4 bolt holes, they're lined up. So now I'm just gonna use the bolts to push it down in. You got 2 longer bolt holes right here. You can see how they're raised up and they got a little bit more space. You'll have 2 longer bolts and 2 shorter bolts. The 2 shorter bolts will be right here, as they are, you know, not a lot of space on there. This one, you can see that it comes up higher, it raises up higher, so it's going to take the longer bolt, and then the crisscross one to it is going to take the longer bolt. So they crisscross, short bolts and long bolts. And I apologize for not showing you guys taking this off, but it was already off because I took it off like weeks ago. So we were waiting for the part to come in. But to take this off, you basically just undo what I'm doing. So it's not hard. 4 bolts, well actually 5. The 5th one's on the side down here. So just so you know. Alright, so all of them are threaded in. Now I'm going to thread in this guy right here. This is on the side, so it's going to go in like so. this is the gangster you're gonna want. As you can see, this will allow me to torque it instead of having one of those little Allen wrenches and using your fingers. I'll be able to actually torque it with a wrench. So I would go get one of these sockets. Just let me see if it says what size it is. It says it's an H8, so we need to go get an H8 size. Guys, that's how you do it. Like I said, just undo what I did to take it out. All right, now we're good. Peace.